There's another way you can look at your projects. High concept versus no concept. How easy is it for you to describe your movie in a way that sounds exciting and appealing? Then, how easy is it for the person you just described it to turn around and describe it to somebody else? You may all have a condescending attitude about this idea of high concept, but you have to understand why it's so successful. Because movies have to be described by a lot of people in the process in order to get them financed and marketed. And it creates a very simple, relatable, digestible way for people to envision your movie. The first movie I financed with Mandate Pictures was a movie called Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Here's the concept. It's the epic story of two stoners who are just trying to get to White Castle to get a hamburger. That's all it is. That's the whole concept. The concept is so simple that the entire thing is in the title. We're working on a movie right now at Lionsgate called Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. Anybody have an idea what that's about? Right? Pretty easy. The opposite is a movie like Precious. I suspect the more that you try to describe that movie to a financier, the harder it is to get financed. It's a brilliant movie. I was really proud to be a part of it. But I think if you ask Lee Daniels to tell you the story about trying to get that movie financed, he's going to tell you a story about trying to climb Mount Everest a dozen times. He's also going to tell you that every step was worth it, however. My point is not to tell you that one movie is better than another. I've been involved in all kinds of them. I love all kinds of movies, and they're all worth the challenge. It's just to point out that there's greater demand for certain kinds of movies than others, and therefore certain kinds of movies are easier to get financed than others. Either way, what's really important is for you to know where on the spectrum the kinds of movies that you want to make live. Another way you can evaluate your films creatively is to listen to what people are saying about them. There's a bunch of words you don't want to hear when people are describing your project, and if you hear these, you probably have a problem. There's words like, your project is really sweet. Your project's cute, it's really nice. It's darling, or you don't want to hear this one, your project's kind of depressing. But there are words that you do want to hear, and you want to listen for these words because it's going to tell you you're onto something. Your movie's hysterical. Your movie's provocative. It's terrifying. I can't stop talking about it. Or instead of depressing, someone says your movie's heartbreaking. When you start hearing that, something good's happening. I know this is very subjective, but the more you read and the more you hear people discuss what is being read, the more clear this nuance is going to become and the better you're going to be at evaluating your projects. The next thing you have to do is you have to figure out who the target for your film is. And what you can't do is limit that target to the people that are going to the theater. You all think in terms of consumer, and that's really important. But your most immediate audience, your most important audience is your financier and distributor. It's been one of the keys to our success, is paying attention to who you're actually trying to get to finance your movie, not just your end consumer. What can you learn about them? What is their agenda? What have they bought lately? What can their slate tell you about what they're thinking and what they're looking for? Have you done a hard, realistic analysis about who's financing and distributing the kind of movies that you have in your bag? Here's one. Are the companies who distribute the movies that you love and that are like the ones you have in your bag even in business anymore? You have to pay attention to this stuff. It's going to tell you everything you need to know about what works and what you need to do to have a chance of success in this business. Here's another one. You have to learn from the no's that you get. What are you learning from financiers and distributors who passed on your projects? I checked this. Lionsgate and Mandate, we receive over 3,000 submissions a year, and 99% of those projects aren't for us. But here's the interesting thing. I asked our team, of the 3,000 projects that get submitted, how many people actually challenge the no and find out what it's about? You know what the answer was? Almost none. Almost everyone who submits a project accepts a polite pass via email or phone call without ever fuller understanding why it didn't work for us, and more important, what we're actually looking for and what does work for us. Kevin asked me how to figure out how financiers think. The concept I love to use here is that we've all got 2 ears and 1 mouth. And the reason for that is because we were all designed to listen twice as much as we actually talk. When someone passes on your movie, you need to dig in and find out everything you can about why they passed and what they're actually looking for. They're more than happy to talk to you. You just got to call them and push. If you ask smart questions and you listen closely, a distributor or financier is going to tell you everything you need to know how to put together a movie that they actually want to make. There's somebody dropping over there. You also need a simple way to evaluate your movies financially. Does your movie have a big director on it? Does your movie have the ability to get big actors or have big actors in it? If it does, what you need to do is you need to study the historical performance of those movies. It's going to give you a great indication of how the industry is going to look at the movie you're trying to make.